Hello, welcome to Dissident Canada. I am Tyler, and boy, oh boy, is Carney having a hell of a time recently. So much political firestorms hitting the man, you don't even know which ones to talk about first. Um, if I'm remembering correctly what I've said, which is, it could be a hard time sometimes. I have said for a long time, or since Carney was elected, selected, um, that he would have a lot of problems, not just politically, but economically, that would build on political, and he would have a hard time getting things done to a certain degree. He would have to get certain things done if he wanted to remain in power and not have to deal with some real problems coming out of the West, which he hasn't got done. Again, maybe, some of the pipeline projects are, it's taking a long time to deal with the back end negotiation and everything. Or, he's slow rolling it because you gotta wait till the hammer drops with the economy completely, and then you'll have an easier time selling it to your base as a good jobs platform, like maybe something like that. Or it takes too much time to roll over the whole green agenda into, yeah, we need some pipelines. But in the meantime, Carney is in some hot ass water. um I do not envy his position, because he's getting hit from his own side now, and I believe he's also getting hit from his own power faction, which is a real problem. Not the globalist power faction that's international, but the power faction that backs up the liberals, the liberal corporations that, you know, allow the Liberal Party to operate the way they do. My theory behind this is real simple. Due to Carney's inability to get a deal done with Trump, it is disrupting their standard practices. Now, they are likely getting kickbacks in various forms of protectionism. Will pay these companies money because they're getting hit by tariffs. That shenanigans. It's kickbacks. It's bribes. It's all it is. It's the bribes to stay in power, for the most part. Um, but it's those sectors that are hit hardest by the tariffs are going to be running into a situation very quickly. And this would have happened regardless of tariffs. Like, this is just where we are in the economic cycle. That they can't keep their entire workforce. Like, this is the likely scenario. With the amount, say, for the car industry, the car manufacturers here in southern Ontario and in parts of Quebec, they're not going to be able to sell through enough to maintain their current supply of workers or employees, in the hopes that, say, next year it picks up, or the year after that. It's just going to be too costly for them. So there's going to likely be more and more layoffs as time goes on, because the real economy is weakening, while the financial economy is chugging along to a certain degree. Like, think of like a combustion engine that's got, that's from like the 50s or 60s. It's built really well. It's tough as hell, but it's got a misfiring cylinder. So it's working, but it's not at peak, and it's nowhere near to peak, and it's going to break down at some point, okay? That's what's going on with the financial economy. So when that has some form of break, and it's likely to happen in the next years. We're already we've been for like the last year and a half at extend and pretend with commercial real estate. Uh, you've got extend and pretend going with residential real estate, especially in Canada right now, especially if you're, I believe it's CIBC that is over leveraged on Canadian commercial or Canadian residential real estate. So they're very much in the extend and pretend that nothing's wrong, even though you probably care about the economy and the housing market. You check the news periodically and you see all the articles coming out about how the GTA real estate market is basically on fire. You've got stale inventory that can't sell at like 30 or 40% cuts from peak, and it's 10 or 20% down from the beginning of this year, price wise. So got some problems there, and that's an indicator. You're also seeing in the construction industry, the only thing that's really keeping it up is government contracts, or government contracts by proxy, where the government is giving out grants to its proxy network to get certain things done. So think like universities, and I mean, like during COVID, it was, hey, we're going to keep the construction industry going by doing a whole bunch of shit we should have done 20, 30 years ago in the hospitals. We're finally going to get around to doing that. Some of that was quite interesting. Like they were finally revamping like MRI rooms, X-ray rooms, stuff that you kind of want done periodically because the lead shielding does decay over time. It's lead after all, and you can bombard it with radiation for a long time, but not when it's well beyond what we have currently in thickness. Like it went from 4 or 5 mil to like 9 mil. Like it's a fairly substantial increase. But besides the point, you've got this failing economy, so you now have left and right, less so on the left, but definitely on the right, blaming Carney and the Liberals in general for the state of the economy, even though most of the problem that Canada is experiencing is due to global macro. Now, I'm not saying the economy wouldn't be better if we had done things, or if the Liberals had managed things better, hadn't gone into the green and socialized the economy to like we're at like 50% of Canada's economy is government. Like, I'm not saying that wouldn't help. I'm saying we'd still be in a relatively similar position. Like, we're talking 10 to 15% off. Maybe as much as 20% better. Now, that is better, but like saying, oh yeah, we're 20% better, we're like at 100% when we're at, 40 or 30% and you're at 50%, that's not that big of an improvement. Like, it's not 50 to 70 or 70 to 90. Like, it's not substantial. It's like, instead of, hey, any black swan could take us down, it'd be like, we need a very specific black swan. That's basically what I'm talking about, difference. So Carney's got problems because he doesn't have a history in Canada for like the last, it's like 13, almost 13 years, something like that, when he was removed from the Bank of or went from the Bank of Canada to the Bank of England. He doesn't have a base, and he never really had the charisma to build a base. He's got default Liberal supporters, but he doesn't have a political base to gain political capital from. He's got to rely on the Liberal name to do that. And when you have, from the beginning of your term as Prime Minister, you have a problem where at least a sizable enough portion of the caucus is willing to say, hey, we need to remove the prohibition that we self-imposed on the Liberal Party membership so that we can remove party leaders at will. Like, we can just have a vote and get them out. Like, after the last few months, I would make the assumption of Carney making the Liberals look even worse than Trudeau. It's slow, but it's working. Like, their opinion is not high of Carney, and he has, again, pissed off the Liberal power brokers by not getting a deal done with Trump or having any viable solution besides doing trade with America. Does it exist? Yes. Is it hard to do? Yes. Would it take time? Yes. Could he be laying the groundwork for it? Probably not. I don't see him doing that. Like, we are talking about needing to deal with Trump in such a way that allows more or less the status quo to continue, and Carney hasn't done that. And power brokers, power factions, like, however you want to talk about them, they don't like change that they don't implement themselves, because if they implement it, they know how to profit off of it. This, they don't know what to do. They're in this weird limbo scenario of, well, we've got tariffs, kind of, sort of, with the United States. But there's always the threat that Trump could do more, which he recently said he was going to add on certain things, like kitchen cabinets, like countertops, and a few other things. So, like, it's not pharmaceuticals, heavy trucks. Yeah, that's also in there. Upholstered furniture and bathroom vanities, like, starting on October 1st. So, like, this is going to impact Canada, not to a large extent, but it's worrying to these people and how they acquire money. You then also have the problem of the largest supporters of the Liberals by demographic are government employees. And Carney has stated that he wants to cut. Like, the finance minister came out and was like, yeah, we need to reduce the budget. All right? You also have the problem of the kickback scheme. Okay? They are going to have to reallocate funds from the kickback scheme. Canada's version of USAID, which is Global Affairs Canada, I believe, is what the project is called, where it's just a money laundering scheme. It is literally just money washing. It is not that incredibly complicated. The people who get the kickbacks are those who support the government, who got the government in power. It's that fucking simple. It's not, USAID complicated, where, like, there's money going to this NGO and then that NGO is washing it into this other NGO and so on and so forth. And then eventually it's buying, either political capital as a bribe. It's paying off this guy, that guy, or it's buying weapons, because, that's what USAID is all about. I mean, there's other mechanisms in the States for that as well, but that's how that goes. So as he has to wind that down and actually do something that's going to be incredibly difficult, because, like, Carney knows, as, like, not just a banker and a central banker, that the green economy doesn't exist and is not profitable unless money is being washed through it. Just look at Tesla. As soon as Tesla stops getting government money from around the world, not just the United States, but primarily the United States. Tesla's no longer a viable company. Like, that is their revenue source. That goes away. You have a car company that has 3% market share, decent margins, but not enough fucking sales to be worth a damn, and not really anything else product wise. Like, yeah, sure, they sell batteries for other electric car manufacturers because they kind of have the battery technology, but it's not substantial enough to prop Tesla up to where it is. The reason Tesla is valuable is because it's got exposure to Musk, and Musk is valuable because he gets exposure to governments. Like, that's how that money laundering goes. Well, it's not money laundering, it's him being a corporate whore and a corporate welfare queen. But anyways, so Carney's in some real trouble, and he very much appears to be going down the same path that Keir Starmer is going down, where, by the end of the year, we will know if Keir Starmer is getting removed or if he's going to be a lame duck PM until he's eventually removed. Like, he may stay in office until his term is up, but then he's done. And he'll probably get nothing done. Like, he'll be worse than a Muppet that says nothing. He'll be up there, say shit, and everybody will laugh at him. Because they know it's not happening. He does not have... It's very similar to Carney. He doesn't really have a base. He's running off the party name. And when you are in that situation, you're highly vulnerable to being taken down if you don't quickly grow a base or you don't do something. Like, here's another take on Carney. Like, the conservatives are ripping Carney for, and the right in general is ripping Carney for jet setting across basically the globe. It's going from here to there to there to there, and he's going all over. Well, when you're not doing anything and you can't get anything done, movement makes the appearance that something is happening. It's a very good trick in filmmaking, where if they have to give a very important, monologue or like dialogue piece, in a drama, they'll do it while the characters are, say, walking down a corridor. Why? It gives the appearance of, and falsifies in your brain that the plot is moving forward, even though, they're just doing, we have to go here to kill the bad guy, like that type of thing. If you do that while there's motion, it drives the movie forward. It drives the plot forward. It gives the appearance of more is going on than it is. Same thing with politics. And Trudeau, his team was great at moving Trudeau around to make the appearance that he wasn't getting fuck all done. Carney's doing the similar thing, but everything in Canada is worse, and he's spending more money doing absolutely nothing. And while that continues to piss Canadians off, it is going to become worse and worse as the economy gets worse and worse, and the recession that we are clearly in and have been in for a year. All right? Like, saying Canada hasn't been in a recession for a year is kind of ridiculous. And my metric that I use is extremely simple, all right? Keynes came up with it. And I'm not a Keynesian, but man, is this a great definition for a recession. It is a sustained downturn from previously established growth trend. Is that not just the perfect definition for a recession and or a depression? Well, it's both. Like, Keynes uses it in the terms of, like, well, this is a depression in a debt-based economy. And you can say it for a recession too. But after a sustained period, you would have to move from recession to depression. And that's kind of where we're going. Like, it's not great. but it's what's freaking happening. And if you get, say, the Canadian dollar drops, where are we at? We're at, let me just pull this up. Okay, we're floating here on this Friday. We're still trading roughly sideways and slightly down, which it's not great, but say we're still in the low 70s. Like, if we were extremely precise with our currency trades, we'd be at 71 cents, but we're kind of not precise, so it's 72. But like, if you look at the year, all right, we're up from the February low, where we were almost gonna, like, we were touching around 68 cents, somewhere around there. So, and on the trend to like be at 67. So we could continue that trend downward. Like, there is a substantial downward trend here, and we're retracing the low, or we're getting to retracing the lows. We're at a substantial resistance point, it looks like, but I would suspect it will go lower, but then we'll probably have a bounce at some point due to euro dollar mechanics that I have talked about previously. But it looks like the Canadian dollar is going to go low, which is going to strap Canadians even further. I don't think it will be an extended period of time. Like, I'm not thinking 2 or 3 years at, say, 65 cents. Or at least, God, I hope not. Like, if we do that, that will be substantial problems globally. Canada, the price of the Canadian dollar doesn't really matter globally, but that will be a canary in the coal mine for euro dollar problems. Severe euro dollar problems. So, and like, the DXY is basically trading sideways for the last little bit. When that spikes, we're in some serious problems too. But, like, Carney's got some freaking problems, as I have mentioned. So I don't know how long Carney can continue. Like, he's pretty clearly losing support internally, because you keep getting leaks out of the Liberal Party that do him damage. The most recent is the public safety minister. I totally believe that was a deliberate leak by the public safety minister to undermine Carney and the Liberals because he wants a change, with good reason. So yeah, I really don't think, when the foot drops with the economy, I don't think he survives politically. I don't think, like, if we're going to go through a list of leaders, I don't think, say, Milei in Argentina survives. Trump will, if it happens early next year, Trump does not win the midterms, Trump is then on the chopping block himself. And 2028 becomes very, very bad. Very bad. But other world leaders, Keir Starmer's, once it hits, I don't think Keir Starmer can survive. Same with Merz in Germany. Macron may be able to hold on in France. I doubt it, though. I think Meloni's going to have trouble as well. Like, just think most European leaders that aren't actual populists and aren't very much on the side of we need to get the hell out of Ukraine consistently, they will most likely fall. They will be blamed heavily for the economy. it's surprising no one if you've been watching me for a while. I think Xi falls. I think Xi's in serious trouble. I think he gets whacked. Like, I think it's that bad in China. Maybe I should do a video checking up on that. But anyways, I think the vast majority of leaders fall. Anyways, that's the video about Carney and his hot water and how he's politically probably screwed. This week I'll probably end up doing videos about the economy in a little bit more depth. About, hey, what's on the horizon, because I'm having some interesting thoughts about that. I'm hemming and hawing some things over. Think I might talk about immigration again, because that's coming up. And while I'm thinking of immigration, that's another voter group that is going, or not voter group, but that is another group in Canada that is going to turn against Carney. Carney is slowly choking out students from coming in, which is a great scam pipeline to bring your family in. There's going to have to be cuts to the non-Indigenous population of Canadians getting paychecks from the government, and they'll fucking hate that. I think just cut them off and send them home. Say, hey, your final payment is $1,000. Go buy a plane ticket. Fuck off. That or jail. Or jail, and maybe not jail, but we will pack a parachute for you and get the... Canada has a version of the Hercules, right? The C-130. I believe we do. We'll just pack all the immigrants up in there that are illegally here, and we'll just give them a parachute and fly them over their home country. Airdrop them home. That'd be funny. It would. It would be the most Trumpian thing done, and we should totally do it. It'd be funny. Anyways, immigration. I'll talk about immigration, probably some AI stuff, because that is a bubble worth talking about yet again. My opinion hasn't changed. The AI bubble's gonna pop, and it's gonna be bad. That will likely be the pop that brings down the market. What brings that down will most likely be real estate. Will be commercial real estate, but we'll talk about that. And there'll be other stuff. I'm thinking through some things. Until the next video, have a good day.